Morning, boys. We are continuing chapter number 8, Fiscal Policy. And over the last 2 days, we are discussing this policy. Today is the last day for this chapter. Today, I will complete this chapter. Remaining few concepts left. So, we will discuss all those concepts. The first one is budget deficit. What do you mean by budget deficit? Now, you know, every government in every year publishes his budget. In budget, what it is written? In budget, it is given that the planned expenditure of the government and what are the planned sources from where the government earns revenue, government earns income. So that is the budget. In every budget, the government shows two things. Number one, the expected sources of his income, that is the expected sources of government revenue, and number two is planned expenditure of the government, where the government is going to spend the money. Remember, this budget, and this is known as the government budget. This government budget and private budget, that is the budget for individual, are different concepts. Why, in what basis it is different? For us, for common man, we first consider our income. That what is our income? On the basis of that income, we plan our expenditure. But in case of government, this is just opposite. That is, the government first shows that these are the funds, these are the ways by which government wants to spend money. So this is public expenditure. On the basis of that, government going to show his income, revenue. That is, the government is going to impose new taxes, new fees, etc. So that is the difference. For individual, first income, and on the basis of that, expenditure is done. But in case of government, first expenditure. On the basis of those expenditure, government planned his revenue structure. Understood? Now, in budget, government budget, there are three types. First is, if the total government revenue is equal to government expenditure, both are same. 100 rupees I am earning through taxes and other sources, and then 100 rupees I am spending. So, government revenue equal to government expenditure. Then, it is called a balanced budget. If the government revenue and expenditure are same, it is a balanced budget. Now, number two is, if the government revenue is greater than government expenditure, that is 100 rupees I am collecting through taxes and other sources, but my expenditure is rupee 80. Then 20 rupees surplus is there, that is called budget surplus. So budget surplus implies when the government revenue is greater than government expenditure. Public revenue is greater than public expenditure. That is budget surplus. The last one is budget deficit. That is when the government revenue is less than government expenditure. That is known as budget deficit. Understood? Now, it is easily very understood that a balanced budget is a rare possibility. It is almost impractical to apply a balanced budget. For government revenue equal to expenditure, it is a rare phenomenon. Now, other two options are there. The government may go for budget surplus. If the government issues a surplus budget, that is, if the government shows at the end of the year that my revenue is 100 rupees, but my expenditure in the last year rupees 80, 20 rupees surplus is there, then it hampers the popularity of the government. Why? Because everyone will then start asking that if the total income of government, if the total income through taxes and other sources, you can't spend over the year, then why you are taking the taxes from us? Why you are imposing new taxes? So that's why if a surplus budget is issued by the government in the next year, the government cannot raise the tax level, the government cannot impose a new taxes because you have surplus money. generally issues a deficit budget. It shows that the revenue of the government is less than government expenditure. That is, the money collected through tax and other sources is less than the money government spends for different activities. And why it is done? If I can show this, so obviously on the basis of that, now the government can justify that that is why we need extra money, and that is why in the new budget we are going to impose new taxes, or we are going to raise this tax level, etc. That is why the budget deficit concept is so important. Okay? So this is about budget deficit. This budget deficit can be into three types. First one is revenue deficit. What do you mean by revenue deficit? Where the revenue expenditure, that is the expenditure done by the money collected through tax revenue. That revenue expenditure of the government is greater than revenue receipt. Then it is called revenue deficit. Remember this one, this comes for your objective type question. What is revenue deficit, or fill in the blanks comes. Revenue deficit is when revenue expenditure of the government is greater than revenue received by the government. That is called revenue deficit. Second type is known as fiscal deficit. What is fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit implies when the total expenditure of the government is greater than revenue receipts plus capital receipts. This is the definition. Fiscal deficit definition is when total expenditure of the government is greater than revenue receipts plus total receipts. These definitions are important, boys. You have to remember these definitions. That's enough. Third one is the primary deficit. Primary deficit, this is a very new concept. Primary deficit implies fiscal deficit minus interest payments. Primary deficit definition is fiscal deficit minus interest payments. Nothing else. So these are three different types of deficit are there. Number 4 concept is subsidy. This is very important concept, subsidy. We common terms very much use this, but many of us don't know what is the meaning of subsidy. Subsidy is a payment made by the government. It may be to the household, it may be to the farm. That is known as subsidy, payment by the government. Nowadays, we all know that government is giving subsidy on gas cylinders. So it is a payment done by the government to economic agents. It may be household, it may be farm. If the government gives subsidy to the consumer, then it is household subsidy. If the government gives subsidy to any producing unit, it is a farm subsidy. So in this case, subsidy implies it is just the opposite of tax. In case of tax, we are giving money to the government. But in case of subsidy, government is giving money to us. That is subsidy. Next concept is transfer payment. Another important. What do you mean by transfer payment? Transfer payment implies any payment made by the government without taking any direct service in return. I repeat, transfer payment is any payment made by the government without taking any service in return. For example, when you are working in any office, any company, you are getting your salary. That is not transfer payment. You are giving your labor, against that you are getting money, wage, salary. After retirement, you are getting pensions. Those pensions are transfer payments because then you are not giving any service, but still the government is giving you money. That is pensions. Similarly, any gift, that is also transfer payment. Direct service is not involved. Unemployment dole, that is also transfer payment. Any money made by the government without taking any service. Pensions, unemployment dole, any gift, these are the examples of transfer payments. Okay. And the last one, the the most important we are doing at last, that is the name of the chapter is fiscal policy. What is the meaning of this fiscal policy? Here remember, government has always two types of policy. Any government in the world has got two policies at its hand to operate in the economy. What are those two policies? First one is the known as fiscal policy, and the second one is known as monetary policy. These two are the policies, just like two hands of the government. By these policies, the government runs the economy. One is fiscal policy, another is monetary policy. Our chapter is fiscal policy. Fiscal policy implies always three things. Remember, boys, fiscal policy implies three instruments. What are those three instruments? Number one is government expenditure. What is government expenditure? We all know government spends money on education, government spends money on road and communication, government builds up so many power plants for the infrastructure. These are the government expenditure where government spending money. So government expenditure G is first. Second one is this transfer payments, transfer income made by the government. Pensions, unemployment rule, these are the transfer payments. Here. And last one is tax. This is the three. These three are the vehicles of fiscal policy. Fiscal policy implies these three, either individually or a combination of these three things. Okay? So fiscal policy has got only these three instruments: government expenditure, transfer payments, and tax. Now, these fiscal policy, every time the government uses these policies to control the economy. This fiscal policy can be of two types: expansionary, contractionary. Why two types? Expansionary fiscal policy are those fiscal policies by which the government can increase income and employment in the economy. Expansion is done. I repeat, expansionary fiscal policies are those policies by which the government can increase income and employment opportunities in the country. That's why it is expansionary in nature. It is increasing, expanding. How it is done? For example, if the government increases government expenditure, what will happen? More employment opportunities will be done. So increasing government expenditure is an expansionary fiscal policy. If the government builds more power plants, more income, more employment will be created. So it is expansionary. If the government increases government is giving more pensions, people will, who are the pension holders, they will get more money. So it is expansionary in nature. Or if the government reduces tax, then also we will get more money from my income. If less tax I have to pay, the income at my hand will increase. I can spend money, so income and employment increases, so it is expansionary. That is why expansionary fiscal policies are three: increase in government expenditure, increase in PR, and a reduction in tax. Remember, these three are expansionary fiscal policy. Just opposite of that is contractionary fiscal policy. Contractionary fiscal policies are those policies by which income and employment opportunities in the country reduce. Contraction is done. Why? What are those three things? Just opposite of this: reduction of government expenditure, reduction of transfer payments, and increase in tax. These three are the contractionary fiscal policies. So always remember, fiscal policy is always of two types: contractionary, expansionary, contractionary. Expansionary fiscal policies may be of these three, contractionary. Remember, government may or 3, whatever. Okay. So this is the whole discussion you require in this chapter of fiscal policies. Today, whatever I have done, these are important for your 1 marks objective type question, MCQ or fill in the blanks. Remember boys, from this chapter, one MCQ will come and one objective type question will come. No 5 marks broad question is coming from this chapter. That's why whatever you will learn from this chapter, prepare this chapter for your objective type question only. No broad question is coming from this chapter. And if you check my last lectures, the total chapter I have done according to that way. Only objective type question you have to do. So this is the whole chapter